Hello everyone, myself Ketan Bhausar, Assistant Professor in Engineering College, Ahmedabad. In today's session, we discuss about IoT and its protocol. Now, what exactly the meaning of protocol and how that protocol are used in IoT application, and we also study the different types of protocol in IoT and its application. So let's start the session and discuss about the protocol. So there are different types of protocol that we study in today's session. We start with the link layer protocol. So as you can see in the IoT, we have a number of link layer protocol. We have IEEE 802.15.4, IEEE 802.11AH, wireless HERT, Z-Wave, BLE means Bluetooth Low Energy, Zigbee Smart Energy, Dash 7, HomePlug, LoRaWAN, LTE-A, G.9959, weightless and DECT and UL. So we learn different types of link layer protocol in IoT application. So let's start with the first protocol. It's IEEE 802.15.4. So now what exactly the 802.15.4? See, IEEE 802.15.4 is the most commonly used IoT standard for the Mac. It defines the frame format, headers including the source and destination address, and how the nodes can communicate with each other. See, in terms of the wireless sensor network or in terms of the IoT application, definitely we have to deal with a nodes and with the sensors. So ultimately the data are gathering or data is generated using the sensor, and we have to pass that data to the customer, or we can say that to the user. So basically it include source and destination addresses. So basically it's a frame format, and how the node can communicate with each other, it also play an important role. The frame format used in the traditional network are not suitable for the low power multi-home networking in IoT due to their overhead. So basically the overhead issue, we are not using some of the frame format for the multi-hopping networking of 802.15.4. It used the time synchronization and channel hopping to enable the high reliability, low cost, and meet the IoT communication requirement. So basically it used for the time synchronization and channel hopping. We are dealing with the multiple channels at the time, or we can communicate with the multiple channels at the time to enable the high reliability, low cost, and meet the IoT communication requirement. So as for the make feature, we have summarized a few features in 802.15.4. The first is the solid frame structure, scheduling, synchronization, channel hopping, and network coordination. So basically the synchronization and the basic feature of 802.15.4 is characterization in 5 ways. So let's start with the soft frame structure. See, what is the soft frame structure or slot frame structure? 802 or 0.15.4 is a frame structure is designed for scheduling and telling each node what to do. Means there are the number of nodes in a wireless sensor network. So each and every node can communicate with each other, and each and every node have assigned a specific task. So every node should know or must know what exactly the working mechanism or what exactly the task is. A node can sleep, send, and receive the information. In the sleep mode, the node turn off the radio to save the power and store all the messages to that the node to send all the next transmission opportunity. When transmitting, it sends its data and wait for an acknowledgement. When in receiving, the node turn on its radio before the scheduling receiving time and receives the data and send an acknowledgement. Turn off its radio, delivers the data to the upper layer and go back to the slave. So basically in terms of the slave slot frame structure, our data and our node have a main 4 characteristics. We have to start, send the data, to get the acknowledgement, and also a sleeping mode for reducing the power consumption. So these are the slot frame structure of 802.15.4. So now what is scheduling? The standard does not define how the scheduling is done, but it needs to be built carefully such that it handles the mobility scenario. Means it handles the number of nodes, it handles the number of configurations which is surrounded or which exactly happening because of the node. it can be centralized by the manager node, which is responsible for building the scheduling. So we can say that they are dealing with one manager, or we can say that one advanced, or we can say that one major node, and the major node can guide and command to the neighboring nodes. And information other about the scheduling, and other node will just follow the schedule. So basically it's all about the master and slave based concept. The master node will give the task to a slave node, and slave node have to follow and to perform a specific task. Now the next, the most important part is the synchronization. Synchronization is necessary to maintain the node connectivity to their neighbors and to the gateway. To approach can be used. So there are the two type of approaches that we use in the synchronization mode. The first is acknowledgement based, and second one we are talking about the frame based or frame based. In acknowledgement based mode, the node are already in communication and they send the acknowledgement for the reliability and guarantee. Thus, it can be used to maintain the connectivity as well. So basically, in terms of acknowledgement, the node already is in communication, and it have to just send acknowledgement signal to make a communication appropriate or the guarantee it is communicated with the neighborhood or the source or destination addresses. In the frame-based node, the node are not communicate with the node, it does not communicate, hence the send an empty frame to a predefined intervals. So basically in the frame based, if the data is communicate or not communicate, it will be sent a acknowledgement or one empty message after 30 seconds to make that the system is alive. Now channel hopping. What is channel hopping? The IEEE 802.15.4e is introduced the channel hopping for the time slot access to the wireless medium. A channel hopping is required changing the frequency channel using a predefined random sequence. This introduces the frequency diversity and reduce the effect of interface and multipath fading. 16 channels are available which add to network the capacity as 2 frames over the same link and can be transmitted on the different frequency channel at the same time. So basically with help of the channel hopping, you can use a multiple frequency band. You have a multiple frequency range that you can use or communicate with the multiple nodes at a time. So this one is the biggest advantage of channel hopping. And the last one is a network formation. Now what is network formation? Means the network has that own identity. The network formation introduces the advertisement and joining component. A new device should listen for the advertisement and commands, and upon receiving at least one such command, it can send a join request to the advertising devices. In synchronization system, the join request is routed to the manager node and processed there while in distributed system. So these are the process locally. Once a device joins the network, that it will be set the fully function and the formation is disabled. So basically it's all about to take a handshaking and establish the channel between source and destination addresses to make a communication feasible. So, and will activate it again if the receiving another joint request. So basically it's all about to make a system live when the data is actually requirement, and after that disable the signal for the power consumption issue to make a system more reliable and it work on low power application. So it's all about the 802.15.4. Now we move to the next, it's IEEE 802.11AH. Now what is IEEE 802.11AH? See, as you already know, the 802.11 is one of the most popular protocol that we use in IoT or any embedded system. Now what is AH? AH is generally, it's a lightweight or low energy version of the original IEEE 802.11. The wireless medium access standard has been designed with less overhead to meet the IoT requirements. IEEE 802.11 standard, also known as a Wi-Fi, are the most commonly used wireless standard. They have been widely used and adopted for all the digital devices including laptop, mobiles, tablets and digital TV. However, the original Wi-Fi standard does not suitable for the IoT application. Due to this frame overhead, we have to move on 802.11 AH. That particular protocol is useful for the embedded devices in most of the application because of the lightweight and the low energy consumption. So the 802.11 task group to develop a standard that power friendly, and basically 802.11 is a MAC layer feature. Now you can see the different feature of MAC layer. It's a synchronization frame, efficient bidirectional package exchange, null data packet, short MAC frame, and increase the sleep time. So here we have a few features in terms of a 802.11 AH. Now what is synchronization frame? A station is not allowed to transmit unless it has a valid medium information that allow it to capture the medium and stop packet exchange by others. It can know such information if it receives the duration field package correctly. If it does not receive it correctly, then it should wait for the duration. It's called probe delay. So basically it's wait for a delay if it is not getting the authentication from the destination side. It's a probe delay, and that particular holding time is called as a probe delay. So probe delay can be configured by the access point in 802.11 AH and announced by the transmitting a synchronization frame at the beginning of the time slot. Efficient bidirectional package exchange. This feature allows the sensor devices to save more power by allowing both uplink and downlink communication between the access network protocol and standard for Internet of Things. So basically it is working on the point-to-point communication. It uses uplink and downlink communication to reduce the power consumption. And specifically it also increases and allowing the sleep time as much as possible. Short MAC frame. The normal IEEE 802.11 frame is about 30 bytes, which is too large for the IoT applications. So IEEE 802.11 is mitigate this problem by defining the short MAC frame rate. It's around 12 bytes. So basically it reduces a weight of address also. So it's called as a short MAC frame. Null data package. Null data package means already the name suggests. The null means it just send acknowledgement to the signal. The data or the slave is ready for the next task. It's all about the acknowledgement signal. So in IEEE 802.11, the control frames such as acknowledgement frame are about 14 bytes and have a no data which add a lot of overhead. So IEEE 802.11 AH mitigate this problem by replacing the acknowledgement frame with the framework or a tiny signal. So basically we can save the 14 bytes, so it reduces overload of the network. Increasing the sleep time. So if you increasing more and more sleep time, then we can say that our system is more power, or we can say that it consumes less power. The reason is very clear, because if the sleep time increase, then the power consumption of the node, the power consumption of the data, power consumption of the sensor is reduced. So 802.11h is designed for the low power sensor, and hence it allows a long sleep period of the daytime and wake up infrequently to exchange the data only. So basically it working in that particular manner that how our power consumption is reduced. So clear everyone, it's about 802.11h. Now we move on the next, it's a wireless head. Wireless head is a data link protocol that operates on top of IEEE 802.15.4 in terms of physical layer, and it works on time division multiple access in its MAC. So it is a secure and reliable MAC protocol that uses advanced encryption to encrypt the message and calculate the integrity in order to offer the reliability. So basically it is working on the time division multiple access on the physical layer, and how it provides the reliability on the data. How it works with the MAC, so it is a main and challenging task. It's a wireless head. So as you can see, the architecture of the wireless head, as you can see on the center, it is a core network. The core network have a gateway with the network manager, or network manager is provide the gateway, and it's a wireless gateway. Now we have access point, and access point are connected or provide the data to the FD. FD is a field devices, and the field devices are communicate with the wireless adapter, and the wireless adapter can communicate with the wireless devices. So it's all about the wireless architecture, and that architecture is playing an important role when you want to communicate the data, when you want to communicate the information from source to the destination side. So Z-Wave, the Z-Wave is a low power MAC protocol designed for the home automation and has been used for the IoT communication, especially for the smart home and the small commercial domains. Basically, it covers the ranges about 30-meter point-to-point communication. It's suitable for the low IoT messages and application, and it is also a lightweight. So this one is a main advantage of Z-Wave type of protocol, which using IoT application about a 30-meter range in point-to-point, and it uses CSMA and CA for collision detection and accurate message for the reliable transmission. And it also follows the master and slave architecture for communicating data or communicate the information. BLE, the most common and the most popular word that everyone heard. What is BLE? It's all about the Bluetooth Low Energy. Bluetooth Low Energy or the smart Bluetooth. Or it can be communicated, as we know, it can be communicated in terms of the small range. But that protocol is generally working on the physical and MAC layer both. So this protocol is widely used in vehicle communication. So as you can see, in our vehicle or in our car, we can see the BLE is there, the Bluetooth is there. So in type of the Bluetooth, you can operate a music system, because Bluetooth is really working a range, it's around only a few meters, right, in terms of a centimeter range also. So basically for the low range, we have to go with the BLE concept. And that particular work efficiently and provide a better latency as compared to the other protocol in terms of low range. So because of that reason, we use a BLE for a vehicle communication. It follows the master and slave architecture. It follows the master and slave architecture and offer the two types of frames, advertising and the data frame. The advertising frame is used to discover and send into the by slave on one or more of dedicated advertisement channel, and the master nodes sends the advertisement channel to find the slave and connect them. And after connecting the master tail, the slave, its working cycle and scheduling sequence. Now ZigBee, a smart energy. ZigBee, that one of the most popular protocols that we use in embedded system. ZigBee Smart Energy is one of the most popular type of protocol that we use in embedded system for working in the range is around 10 to 100 meter, and it is used of P2P star communication cluster tree based concept. So number of IoT applications are generally used in ZigBee protocol. Like smartphone is one of the best example, or we can say that the smart home, smart hospitals, that all the data we can operate it's around the range is around meters, from 10 to 100 meters. So the ZigBees provide the best solution for that. ZigBee's number define the two type of stack profile, ZigBee and the ZigBee Pro. This stack profile will support full mesh networking and work with different applications. So basically ZigBee is one of the best protocol that also support a mesh topology. And also it is working on the low power and also a low energy based concept. Dash 7 is a wireless communication protocol for active RFID and operate in globally advertisement, industrial, scientific, model, medical, ISM band, and it is suitable for the IoT requirement. So number of the IoT requirement can be suitable with a dash 7, and it is mainly designed for scalable, long range, outdoor coverage with higher data rate compared to the traditional ZigBee. So it is a low cost solution that support encryption and IPv6 addressing. So basically if you're talking about the dash 7, the dash 7 is widely used for that particular communication and used in medical field in terms of the RFID communication, and also support encryption standard to provide a data security and reliability. So I hope that you are getting what exactly I am trying to convey about DES 70. Because see, we are familiar with the ZigBee, BLE, Wi-Fi, 802.11, but this like DES 7 is new for us because we are not using. Z-Wave is also new for us, we are not using. Right? So filtering incoming frame are filtered using the three processes: cyclic redundancy check, validation, and 4-bit subnet mask and link quality assignment. Only the frame that pass all three they check and process. It is the concept of filtering. Addressing. Let's now use two type of addresses: the unique identifier, which is a EUI64 ID, and dynamic network identifier, which is a 16-bit address specified by the network administrator. Frame format. The MAC frame has a variable length of maximum 255 bytes, include addressing, subnet, and estimated power of transmission and some other operational field. So basically, if you're talking about a DAS 7, the DAS 7 communication is possible with these three ways. Filtering is there, addressing is there, and the frame format is there. If the requirement of these three is matched with the destination node, then it will be possible to communicate with the DAS 7 protocol. So I hope that you are getting the idea about this type of link layer protocol in IoT. Still, we have a few protocols which also play an important role in IoT using data link communication or the link layer. So I hope that you are getting the idea about the link layer. If you have any doubt in this type of protocol or in this protocol, you can feel free to contact me. So thank you for watching.